This video is going to be about purchase orders within Windows. Um, that we're going to go over how to do them, what you might do with a purchase order, what they're for. So we've got a machine set up here that's just on our test database. We're just going to log in here. So to get to purchase orders, all you do is from the main menu here, we're just going to go to activities and then to purchase orders. You'll have to obviously have permission to do this. You will see a list of, by default, your open purchase orders. You can switch over to view purchase orders that have been closed, or both open and closed ones down here. But we're actually going to create a new one here. So to create a new one, we just go to new. And you'll see by default, it's going to show us the details here. The only thing we are required to select here is a vendor ID, which will be our full list of vendors. We can then fill in, a due date. We can fill in some more reference information, ship to. None of these necessarily have a mechanical effect. They are just for your information, for your records. So if we want to hide these details, we can hit PO details and make them go away, and you'll see the grid that just would contain our purchase order just flops there. But if we want to do a search and add items from a purchase order search, we can do that through lookup. But before we add items, I just want to go over a few options here. So you can set options for the purchase order on this screen. You can do that by going to more and then to options. And this includes a number of options that you'll have. One is to use the vendor cost. What that option does is when you're adding an item to the purchase order, if that item has the vendor of your purchase order associated with it, it will use that vendor's cost by default instead of the item's overall new or used cost. For the next several, these are columns you can choose to show or not show on the grid about each item. Current stock quantity is the quantity that you have in stock right now. It will show either the new stock or the used stock, depending on whether you've added the item new or used to the purchase order. Projected stock is how many your stock will go to if you receive all quantity that you've ordered but have not yet received. So it will take into account whether or not once you place the order, if you've already received it, it's going to realize that and not add that to the projected stock, but otherwise it will add it to the projected stock. Last date received is as it reads the last time you received this item. Last date sold is the last date you sold this item. And then price is the current new or used price. It is price 1 for used. So it will just be your base price. It's not going to go into conditions or anything for the purchase order screen. Then last, but certainly not least, is prompt for quantity. If you don't select to do this, it's going to default to adding your reorder quantity, or if your reorder quantity is 0, it will add 1. If you have this on, then it will actually ask how many you want to add of that item to the purchase order when you go to add it. So we're just going to accept these settings because they show the most things. And then to add items from a search, we'll just go to lookup and we get a full search screen, including we can search based on our reorder level. And when we're searching by our reorder level, we can consider, used, because reorder level is typically for new. And we can also consider our open orders. You can also search for just items by a specific vendor. You can even search for just by the primary vendor. It is a fully fledged advanced search. For the moment, let's just search for items that are below the reorder level. This is a test database, so it's got all sorts of random things in here. So yeah, we'll add one of the items on here to the order. So we'll just say we're going to add this new. Oh, it's a service item. So you can't purchase order certain types of items here. And then it's going to prompt for the quantity. And then we can fill in our, so once we've got items on the thing, you'll notice that we have some options here. So we can see the name and everything of this item, but we can also see that we have a couple of columns here that are in blue. And these ones that are in blue, you can edit. So for example, if we wanted to order 2 instead, you can just click there and type in the number 2 on your keyboard. Similarly, if we wanted to change the cost, we can just say, for example, $1. You can then receive or delete, or either in one of those for the individual line item. You can also edit. Edit will take you to the full edit page for that item. And then you can also take bulk actions. So you can view under more, you can do a receive all, which will set all received quantities to the ordered quantity. You can move the item to a different purchase order, and you can utilize a batch scanner to either receive or just to add items without receiving from a file. So all of these can be used to make entering items much quicker. Um, you know, but if you are actually ordering and then receiving later, you'll probably want to scan the individual items, in which case you can just hit receive here and scan. And to find an item, you can click here and scan it. You also can add items to the purchase order without doing a search by just scanning them if you have them handy, or if you know the barcode. And then of course the use checkbox would be used to add the item as used to the purchase order. By default, it will be added new. So a couple other things we should mention here. So cancel is going to close out of this screen without saving the purchase order at all. Save will save the purchase order, and any quantities that we have received will be updated. Finalize will do everything that save does, but in addition to that, it will also make it so that we cannot make further edits to this purchase order. And also when we consider open orders, when we're searching for items, it means that we will no longer consider it. So you should only do that once you are no longer going to receive any more of the product on this order. For the moment, let's just receive all, which will set these two to be ordered to received. And then I'm going to just copy this and finalize it. And then if we go into number one, we can of course, if we switch to closed purchase orders, we can see the order here and we can get a report on it if we want. You can also then, if we go to that item and we take a look at it and we view the history of that item under selected item and then check item history, we can see that it was purchase ordered right here. So hopefully that's a quick little walkthrough of purchase orders. You can also instant purchase order things, which is a much simpler way to do a single item from here in items under selected items and then instant purchase order. If you have any questions about any of this, please feel free to contact us and we'll be happy to help out. But otherwise, have a good day and thank you for watching.